Get your rub on with Addicted.
Hello, Addicted to the Q world. We have Michael Goff on here, who sponsors the show, as well as from King Louie's Meat Apostle. How are you doing tonight, Michael?
Good, Brad. How you doing, man?
Not too bad. I've worked enough around the house to know I'm tired from the weekend. I need to go back to work and get a break from my weekend.
Yeah, I know. We went from barbecuing and like chilling on the patio to yesterday to my wife saying coming out of the garage with like some gardening shears, and I knew the landscape projects were on and the barbecue was officially over. So yeah, which is good. That's summertime though, man. So we haven't had a chance to chat for a little bit. So thanks for having us on here, man. Our travels have kind of taken us a little here and there.
Thanks for sponsoring the show.
Oh, absolutely. Always good to holler at you.
So let's kind of dive in. You went to Texas last weekend, right?
Yeah, I've been traveling quite a bit. I've been on the road last 16 days down in Texas. My wife and I had a charity cook in Royce City. It was faith-based ministries charity event, which was good. We did raised roughly over $5,000. It was hosted at a meat provider in Royce City called Joe's Meat Market. It's a fantastic little venue. They got a nice little selection of Wagyu. It's a hidden little honey hole outside of Dallas. We always have a really good time there. We're tied in with a couple of other Facebook groups and a couple of other cooks. So there was probably, I couldn't venture to say how many people coming in and out through the day, well over 500. It was just a steady stream of folks all day long. So it was great. That was the first weekend. And the second weekend, let's see, I bumped into my buddy Bill Dumas while I was down in Austin. Sausage Sensei. He was gracious enough. We were blessed and fortunate to, we were asked to attend and judge at the National High School BBQ Championship, which was absolutely fantastic. So they asked us to do a small little cook on exotic barbecue and flavors for the kids, which we were happy to do. That Texas heat is very, very hot. It was good to see all the kids down there. Mike Erickson, the barbecue principal, put on a fantastic event. And to see 51 schools and cooking teams represented, from high school barbecue across the U.S. It was pretty inspiring. There were some fantastic cooks. There were most definitely some train wrecks. There was a lot of hacking that was taking place with the knives and all the things that go with the learning curve, which was absolutely great. And I kind of looking back, we all kind of reminisce a little bit when you get a little more whiter and grayer about, wish we would have had this, wish we would have had that. Most definitely wish we would have had this one though, because just watching the kids take so much away from it. And we've all been to cooks and we see how the kids' competitions are. They're fantastic. And to have a sanctioning body for these high school, for Missouri, it's primarily the smaller schools. What we've seen is these programs have been adopted and really embraced by the FFA chapters, especially here in Missouri, right? We're based in the Midwest. We're both from very, very small communities. We're a 1A school up here in Huntsville, Missouri, Westran. What's Pilot Grove? 2?
1A.
1A.
We got about 100 in the high school.
Yeah. So there's a couple of schools around us that were actually competing in the high school state championship for Missouri that we saw cook. I can't recall. We were blessed to participate at the high school event. So we saw a variety of smaller schools up here, and the larger schools, especially in Texas, and a lot of the 4, 5, 6A schools, the really big schools. We found that this was kind of adopted through the culinary programs, right? So different situations for different folks, of course. And it was neat to see. There was a lot of drums, of course, but there were some rigs that were out there that, frankly, I was just surprised that they had the the capacity to even pull something like that, because they were just absolutely giant. Something that we should have seen at the Q Fest at probably at Arrowhead this weekend. I mean, it was pretty impressive. There's some really neat rigs, and it was just a fantastic event. They had we did exotic barbecue. We warmed up Lee Hickle. He broke down, did a master class doing his pork shoulder, which was fantastic. We got some good video and had an opportunity to hang with Lee all weekend, which was great. Surprisingly, I'll share a little nugget. We were talking, I can't remember how the conversation, what exactly we were discussing, but he mentioned that barbecue most definitely was not his favorite food, which really kind of took me back just a little bit, because it's hard to be a world-class cook without tasting, but that's not his go-to. So I was, it's always kind of good to hear.
Yeah, he's a world champion, isn't he?
Yes, I think he was. He shared a couple of stories. When it comes to pork shoulder, he definitely knows how to get down. I don't know what his ranking is now, but a few years ago, he was in the top 5 in the world. Paul Holden with Willingham's was there as well. He did a suckling pig demo on Monday of the week, which was fantastic. Lee helped him out. Chuck and Vanessa with Rockin' A Grill and Supplies down in Hutto were very gracious hosts the entire time. Fantastic people. It was very nice to meet them and see their store and have an opportunity to connect with them while we were down there as well. But Paul, is arguably, world champion, arguably one of the winningest teams in barbecue history, right? So it was neat to have those conversations and to find out, how they're executing, and to see, some of their recipes, how simple they are, and it's more about execution than some of the magic behind the scenes is impressive, right?
Yeah.
So very technical cook.
So you cooked gator down there, though, right?
We did. It's we're waiting on our videographer. We should have a video posted on our website before it's too terribly long. But yeah, we did. We broke down some gator, which was good. They said to do something exotic, right? And it's if we were doing this in Missouri, I would have definitely busted out some, venison, shown everybody, what we're kind of harvesting up here locally. But, the wow factor with an alligator is definitely unique. So we cooked, we broke down one and we smoked one, and we were gracious enough. Coming from Missouri, I didn't want to pull our rig down there, and we partnered with Serious Smoke Barbecue, Sarisa Dominguez and Anthony Dominguez down there. Be sure to give them a like and a follow on Insta or your favorite social media, Serious Smoke Barbecue. Fantastic pit masters. Sarisa has been working, has been behind the pit and grew up behind the pit since she was like 8. So she's been there and done it. And they had a rig that just ran absolutely like butter. It was a pleasure cooking with them. And we had a really good time hanging out with them. So surprisingly, we did probably about a 15, what was it? It was a just over 5-foot gator. So it weighed somewhere around 20 pounds, maybe 18, 21. And, we broke it down. We had Bill Dumas, my buddy, he made a special Lebanese bologna that we put in there, and we filleted the tail open, and we went to town and stuffed that with some sausage, some cream cheese, some peppers, some onions, and seasoned it up a little bit. And we wrapped that whole thing in bacon and put him on the smoker. And I'll be honest, that Texas heat for this fat guy out of Missouri, we lived in Texas. Our son's born in Texas, but once you get used to it when you're down there, but when you come back and get away from it, that heat is brutal, man.
Yes. Texas heat's a whole different ballgame.
We were sitting there and we were just kind of joking, and the kids were coming over, hanging around the pit, and we were just kind of chit-chatting a little bit. And Lee came over with his gun, and we were taking a look at the temps on everything. And I'm not going to lie, it was probably like 30 minutes before we go present. So we're just in the process of setting up, and he breaks out his thermal gun, and it was like 137 degrees on the parking lot, and we're standing in a pit that's rolling at 250 like clockwork all day. So the heat definitely got to us. We couldn't have done it without my wife Carrie there, of course, and then the help of Cerise and Anthony with Serious Smoke Barbecue for sure, because that heat was taking a lot out of us. I got a little dizzy doing the promo or doing the demo. I'm not gonna lie.
So what kind of cooker was it?
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it justice because I can't recall. It was one of the first pits by a pit master out of down there in South Texas, and it ran so smooth, so smooth. It was a 250 gallon they had set up on a trailer, and it was fantastic. I was surprised how little fuel compared to my setup that they use, and it's always good to cook and see. At the end of the day, these are vessels. It's all about execution. So cooking a relatively newer protein for us on a pit that we've never cooked on is obviously a daunting task, and then having to present to several hundred high schoolers that are down there kind of enamored. But it was a blessing. Mike put on a fantastic event. Missouri was very well represented down there. Muddy River Smokers out of Osceola, I think they took 4th and 6th.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that the Missouri cooks went very well. While they may not have gotten the cooks and the calls that they were hopeful for, I know that it was a fantastic experience after speaking with all the teachers and the instructors and the candidates that were down there, the students.
I always like it because them kids are just as excited as we are about calls. As soon as they get one, they're just as competitive as we are.
Ashley Hansen and Mark Lambert were down there with Faith and Fire Ministries, and they did a cook's church, which was great. And they also had they went live. So if anybody that was looking to or interested in learning a little bit more about the high school barbecue, definitely check them out on Facebook. Those groups are available. And then, be sure to give Faith and Fire Ministries a like and a follow as well. I'm cut from that cloth. So, we've got Philippians 4:13 on the back of all of our bottles anyway. So they went live and they had a chance. You're right. You should have heard the yelling and screaming that was going on, because it's just as adolescent as to be expected, hearing your name called, right? Everybody was going absolutely bananas, and it was fantastic to see.
Yeah. So you sponsor the Muddy River Smokers, which is the team from Osceola, correct?
We did. Charles and Charles Simpson down at Osceola High. They were actually hosted the Missouri event down there as well. Great guy, great group of great program that they're putting on down there. We're hopeful that this will spark some other programs to throw their, hats in the ring, so to say. So I think that there was, after talking with a number of instructors and teachers that were down there from all over Florida, New York. I mean, there were people from all over down there that weren't even competing or have a team that was competing. They were there to figure out and take as many notes as they possibly can to bring it back to their community to try to start the same thing, start the programs up. So this will catch off. Next year will be a big year for high school barbecue. Next year it's in Branson. So then for 2024, the national championship will be hosted in Branson. The details will probably be posted relatively soon. And then 2025, I believe it is earmarked for Kansas City. Nice. So the next 2 years, it's going to be in Missouri, which will be really, really cool. How old's Wes now? Let's talk about, what is he?
He's 10. He's a little
10. Yep. He may miss the first two, but actually middle school is right around the corner, right?
Yep.
So there was a handful of middle school teams that were there competing. So there's opportunities.
I'm trying them, Pilot Grove, but I got to get the administration to sign off on it, and that's half the battle, unfortunately. You know how small towns are. They love their sports, and they love all this other stuff, and not so much other things sometimes.
It is. I think the fundraising that surrounds this is, perfect. Their motto is "Come eat our homework," right? And it's pretty simple to fire up a smoker and start cranking out $10, $12 fundraising plates. And that's what a lot of schools, had the approach that they've kind of adopted and took to raise the necessary capital, which is very modest, right? To attend the national event. So we were blessed and fortunate to partner with Osceola. We had I think 6 different schools down there using our stuff. So we'll probably end up sponsoring a few more teams next year in the high school space. We had a couple of teams in a variety of states that kind of reached out. So who knows? We'll just keep things open, and we look forward to kind of supporting the next wave of cookers behind us, right? So, which is always good.
I think I told them, when I sent the email to the principal and I said, I'll help coach, I'll help do whatever I got to do, get present. I said, Chuck Simpson's a good friend of mine. I said he'd come to school and give a presentation if we need to. So we'll just go from there. I haven't got a reply back yet, but
that's the thing about it from the barbecue community side of things, and I think we both recognize this, Bradley, is there's so many willing individuals there's so many individuals that are willing to help in once a program gets started with not only cooking tips, tricks, everything else associated with that, but the life skill sets that these kids are picking up through these programs aren't just limited to the culinary side of things, right? So the leadership, the entrepreneurial skills, the public speaking, right? There were children that were presenting, giving, to stand up in front of an auditorium full of 500 people is very, very daunting. And to see these our youth, accept that challenge and perform, it was pretty special. They did do a ladies panel, which I thought was really unique, and they had a panel of female pit masters that were up there, including Tootsie was there with Snow's Barbecue, and it was really good to hear about their journey and inspire and really kind of pour out not only into just the student audience, but especially the female cooking audience that was there. I mean, just to see that everyone's eyes were just truly sparkling. I mean, it was inspirational to say the least.
Well, that, and they learn teamwork, they learn accountability, they learn that to work at something that you're not going to just get it perfect the first time.
Exactly. We did see a lot of decision-making skills were put on display. there was lost fires, there was dropped proteins, there was all sorts of madness that was taking place, and at every single event that takes place in some capacity. So it was just really good to see everybody enjoying themselves. And we did have an ice cream truck on site, which was fantastic as well to keep things cooled down. And again, Faith and Fire Ministries was there with I think they were riding around they were cheating. They were in a gator riding around, but they had the tough job of passing out popsicles, which was right on time.
Oh, I'm sure of that heat.
Yes.
You were talking about losing protein. That's about what happened to me on Saturday. Apparently, that's the key to having a decent. I about dumped my rack of ribs on my charcoal. I went to spin my rack, and the whole thing went to fall. And I had to have my buddy come get it, put it back up on the thing. I about lost that one into the fire.
Yeah, it definitely happens, doesn't it? We've all had cooks where something silly happens like that, and there's nothing worse. I mean, it's part of it. It's going to happen, and that's part of the problem-solving skills that kind of comes along with this, right? So,
doesn't the GC and RGC teams get a hell of a scholarship too, if I remember right from last year?
Yes, and I will fall short of it truly explaining, everything that they receive. But I believe this is kind of a scholarship-driven program. So I do believe there was some substantial culinary arts scholarships that were made available locally here. Being, given that I know everybody may be listening from wherever, but we're based here in mid-Missouri. Mark Hunsaker with Hunsaker Smokers down in Columbia was one of the sponsors as well. And the winning teams, the GC and RC got drums, and they were gorgeous. They
They were
were
phenomenal.
they were wrapped up, and Mark's very, very meticulous and knocked the ball out of the park with these. They were gorgeous.
Yeah, I was kind of sad on Saturday. I think I was 1.2 points from winning the damn drum, and I tied for second, which was the do-it-yourself kit, but I lost the tiebreaker. So like,
Yeah, talk to me because we haven't talked. Tell me about the tailgate event at in Columbia.
it was a good time. Mark did a good job, and I can't think of the other guy's name. He's kind of the guy from Hickory Stick. I think he kind of helps run that Clinton County barbecue. But
Okay,
they did it. It was a kind of ran like an SCA rib cook. You showed up, you drew a number from where there's 26 teams. You drew a number from 1 to 26, and that's the order you picked your ribs in. But they got them from Cordy Meat Processing, so they were Prairie Fresh Primes. I don't
nice.
think you could have picked a bad slab. Honestly, you could have been 26 and picked a good enough slab to cook. They were nice. So the only thing the challenge was the time. About when you got them, you about had to throw them on the grill because you didn't have a lot of time from turning to
Short window.
get them to turn them in. But otherwise, it was a no garnish in the box, so that was kind of different. I just threw some foil down, which I'm used to making a kale box and making it look
Yep.
all pretty and all that stuff. And it was a turned in at least 4 bones. I'm kind of honestly glad I didn't have to turn in 5 bones because I'm not sure I would have had that many. But I had my 4 to turn in.
One rack, the chickens get a little slim there, so you better have a good cook.
The parts I thought were gonna turn in, they didn't get turned in. But I took one bite, and I'm gonna be honest. I said, "Well, I've tasted better ribs." I said, "Well, there goes that. All right, on to the next one." And we get to awards, and lo and behold, 3rd place. I said, "Well, that's not a bad cook, considering there was a lot of master teams there and a lot of good teams. So I'll take that all day long." And then the tailgate event, I loved that event in the fact there was no trailers. Everyone was out under easy ups. Everyone was socializing. Everyone was helping each other. There was no, none of this. I'm going to hide all my secrets. You're not going to see anything. It's going to be, and I don't know if you know him, but Chad Knowles from Hallsville, he has cancer. He had a benefit last March, and he was there cooking. So
nice.
That was kind of nice to see. And it was just like, honestly, they always say a barbecue family, but that one felt more like a family event. Like I said, because not everyone was hiding in their trailers until you see them till turn ins. And I mean, everybody was talking, party. I mean, there was vendors there, there was cooks there, there was behind me was the guys from Sticky Pig, so they were.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was just a really.
How many teams were there?
26 is what cooked the rib cook off.
Oh, that's a great turnout. That was a good event.
It was. Mark was pretty humbled by it. He said, when I first brought this up, I thought we might have 5 or 6 teams sitting out here. And he ended up with 26 teams. And then they did a bacon wrapped onion ring ancillary, which I didn't do because I don't eat onion rings. I don't like onions. So I was like, that's not going to be one for me to cook. But so they did. I think they had 6 or 7 participants in that. And there he's brought up a different kind of event, which I think would be a lot of fun. It's you show up that day, find out what protein you're going to cook, walk into the store, buy it, and then cook it.
And then cook it on the spot.
So it's not even. Yep, in the parking lot of the place. I think that would be kind of fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I think we're both junkies, so if the dates work, we're in. Yeah. So it sounds like a good time. I'm excited for our schedule just to cool down a little bit. This is, it's been we've been very, very blessed and humbled, and our travel schedule is through the roof right now. So it was good to have a day at home to kind of relax, pack, pay bills, tell people you love them. And then I got to fly out. I'll be in Napa next week. So, we're going to take a little bit of downtime and enjoy Napa Valley for a few days. for a week, and then come back hopefully a little more recharged, and then get a chimney of coals going.
I don't see how you do it. Hell, we have a spot. We have a camper at the lake that we go to down on the weekend some, and I'm like, I don't feel like I get any time at home to do anything to keep anything up.
It's very, very daunting. My wife and I both travel a lot, so it was just good to be back home for a little bit.
Does she travel with you, or does she travel for her job too? Or
well, my wife Carrie works. She's in quality control, and she works for Papa John. So she audits a variety of vendors and in their supply chain. So her travel is daunting as well. So I think she probably will travel 180 days this year. I'll probably be on the road closer to 230.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So, our dog hates us right now. Poor sandwich. I made sure yesterday we were cooking picanha. So I made him his own little Philly cheesesteak, full blown. I was going to eat it. I started eating like 3 bites of it. And I'm like, buddy, this one's for you.
I saw those. That looks really good.
Yeah, if you know me, when I have a chance, like my go-to is I get down on picanha. Absolutely love it. I'll get down on tri-tip, but picanha is hands down my favorite. I'll cook the whole roast. I don't do steaks. I'll cook the roast, and then we'll just tear it up. Always cook 2 because the first one we'll slice up on the spot, and it never even makes the serving table. So.
My wife surprised me with a Wagyu brisket for Father's Day, so I'm probably going to try and cook that one in a couple weeks. So.
Yeah, nice. That's I heard you say that. I'm excited. Hey, we had been talking a little bit. When's your next? We're talking a little bit about calendars and stuff. What's your schedule looking like? What's Meet My Mistress have coming up?
I think we're going to try to sneak one in July before Worlds in August, but
gotcha.
That's probably the next goal.
Are you open? Are you guys open on the 21st and 2nd for the Ozarks?
Possibly. We have to look and see.
Yeah, we're already committed that weekend, so we're out on that one. So, and after that, I'll be honest, we'll have an opportunity to literally sit back, take a look at our schedule, and plan the last 3 months of the year out for us, anyways.
Yeah. So I've been looking into that one. I haven't quite fully decided yet, but I've been looking into it.
Yeah, I saw there was a couple of more teams that have signed up, so that'll be a great event in just outside Springfield. So.
Yeah, if I do, it'd probably be the Saturday, Sunday, the second day of it, just because with work on Friday, it gets kind of challenging sometimes to get out of there enough to get down there.
Yeah, the whole setup, pool setup, everything else. It's time's of the essence, no doubt about that.
That's the worst part. My regular full-time job that cuts into my second competition barbecue job.
I know we got to have a primary job to pay for our full-time hobbies.
Yes, that's exactly right.
It was crazy. I was talking with we were cooking next to Lee and Lee Hickle down there and in Texas, and he's on the road upwards of 70,000-80,000 miles a year. So that's getting after it, right? That's making some moves in the barbecue world. So yeah, it was a great time. Paul Holden was absolutely fantastic. It was great to see him in action doing his thing, and it was great to just have an opportunity to be associated with those guys and just sit around and hang out and listen to some of their stories was absolutely fantastic. So it was a really good. It was a great time in Texas for us, with the exception of halfway through our Gator presentation. This is true. We went through a case of water and 12-pack of Gatorade, and we were just pounding water. And that heat under the tent, I couldn't tell you how hot it was. I can tell you this, that we were in the process of starting to do the demo on. I'd already broken down the Gator, and I leaned over to Sarisa Dominguez, who was next to me. and I leaned over in her ear, and I forgot I had a microphone on. I said, "I am so dizzy. I think I'm going to fall into Lee's cooker here. I need you to step up and say a couple words for me." And right as she did, I got super dizzy, and I'm not joking. I bounced back into Lee's little rig. We were standing right in front of it, underneath the awning in the shade. It was that Texas heat is not to be messed with. Once we got finished with that, we went inside. We stuck around for Lee's demo, so we were out there for about a good 3 hours doing demos with the kids. We went inside to beat the heat, and while we were in there, we bumped into a handful of other kids, and we saw Mike, and he was like, "You don't look good." I was like, "No." He says, "Upstairs there's a walk-in cooler." So I took there was about 4 other kids that were in the bathroom that were not feeling well. So we found some of those liquid IV packets, and we kicked the door in on the walk-in cooler, and we hung out in there and joked around with some kids just to cool down for about 10, 15 minutes to beat it, because it was sweltering hot down there. Texas kids, everybody looked like they were doing well, but there was a handful of kids the heat were just absolutely getting. And once you get behind in that Texas heat, it's tough to catch up from a hydration standpoint for sure. So.
And what people don't realize too, you're sitting there on that asphalt. That asphalt radiates heat back up at you.
Oh man, it was brutal. It was definitely brutal. So I guess we've been in Missouri, back home 7.5 years now. So we've been out of Texas almost 7, 8 years, and it does take a little bit to get used to that heat, but not looking forward to heading back down there in August. That's for sure. It gets hot.
Oh, yeah. We went to Galveston a couple years, or this was last summer, and it wasn't bad, but it was definitely, like you said, it's definitely a whole different heat down there.
It is, and that's just part of it. We're all standing in front of pits and fires all the time, so that's just an important part of it.
That's kind of how Mayetta and Kansas is going to be in August. I'm not looking forward to that but it's going to be a warm one.
Oh, I know. It's time for that crazy Missouri heat to hit us now, right? So
yes, I'm excited about that one just because obviously it's the World Invitational, so it's whether I do worth a crap or not, just to be there is what you worked hard to get for. So
100%, 100%, and those are the things we get up for, right?
Yeah,
have an opportunity to get up with it, and just like everybody else, we hope we have a good cooks and hope to hear your name called.
That's what when I first started this crazy adventure at the beginning of last year, that was my first and only goal, was to get qualified for that. So when I hit that, I was pretty excited. So
you taking Wes down?
Yes, probably the whole family.
All right, nice.
We're talking about renting like one of those outdoorsy RVs.
Yep.
But for backyard, they're only giving you electric. They're not giving you water or sewer. So it's going to have to be, we'll have to see how that goes. But then I thought about staying in the hotel, but I get really weird about not being beside my campsite in case wind or something blows around or.
Yeah, 100%.
So, and then like I said, there's 4 of us that are teaming up to cook the open side of it on Saturday. So that'll be a good time. That
will be a great time. And here's some good cooks for you, my friend.
Thank you.
100%.
So do you have anything else to add?
I know I've got a couple of test product. We've got a couple of injections we're playing with. We've got one new brisket rub, a comp rub that we're working with. It's not a very clean label. What would be considered to be a clean label? We're using a little more MSG in this one, and some other things that's truly comp driven. So I'll send you a couple of samples, let you try it out, and
that would be great.
Yeah, so you can give that a roll, and then from us, in all honesty, right now we're in shutdown mode for the next week. So we're looking forward to have an opportunity to. Even though I'm not a big vino drinker or wine drinker, I'm all about snacks. I'm all about enjoying the countryside and just being unplugged for just a hot second. So,
what people don't realize is as much as you go and you have to have the unwind time, or you're not worth a crap the rest of the time.
Yeah, I mean, again, we were just blessed to be here, sitting on our patio with an opportunity Saturday, and having a day and a half off just to do normal family activities and not be on the go for once. It gets a little daunting at times.
I can only imagine. So I had to go to Indianapolis for a week in March, and then already I'm like, I can't see people travel all the time for their job. But
yeah, we're excited, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity. Our paths will cross here on the comp trail. Hopefully we'll have an opportunity to compete and hang out on a long weekend. So we'll take a look at. We're going to take a. We've got some dates that we're looking at right now. We'll let you know what kind of our schedule is, but we're looking forward to a few less demo days. We've got another demo day coming up on 4th of July in Quincy at Neiman's Ace Hardware up there for their Traeger Day. We're going to do some stuff with those guys, and after that, it's truly signing up for a couple of cooks ourselves, to close the year out and soak up some us time and have a little bit of fun.
that sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. So, and yes, I'll definitely look forward to that brisket rub. I'll definitely give her a shot.
100%. It's always a pleasure to be here. Hey, Addicted Q, thank you guys very much. We're excited to, and proud to partner with you guys and bring this podcast to life.
And thank you for doing that. We appreciate it.
Oh, 100%. Appreciate everything. I can't wait till our paths cross again, Bradley.
Sounds good. Have a good night.
Enjoy y'all's evening. See you guys.
Thank you.